Hello, everyone. This is Josh Bersin, and I want to thank you for joining me. Today, I'm going to talk about a really exciting initiative we call the Global Workforce Intelligence Project. And the best way to explain it is to give you a little bit of history. If you go back close to 20 years, we had the most disruptive force in business, which was the internet. And the internet at the time became a set of technologies at Web 1.0 that we used to communicate, distribute information, and to some degree, conduct commerce through a new digital media. And of course, we built a whole team of people that understood websites and e-commerce systems, back office, automation, and there was a massive demand for skills, software engineering, and other related roles to enable our companies to operate on the web. What we didn't realize is that what was really happening was the transformation of the economy and the transformation of every single business. And so in the next era, after a few years of this, and after the recession and the dot bomb around the 2000s, we had what we call digital transformation or digital disruption. Digital transformation was the really 10-year period where we decided we need to digitize everything. We digitize the way we work, we digitize the products we sell, we digitize our solutions. We have omni-channel retail distribution, we do online healthcare, we do digital media, we do digital music, we do digital delivery of information, news. I mean, virtually every company used the technologies in the first phase to change the nature of our products and services. And this created also new skills in mobile, design thinking, analytics, AI, all sorts of experience design skills that we learned in customer experience and later in employee experience, all came due this period that we call the digital transformation period. And when I was at Deloitte, we used to have this mantra where we would tell companies, digital transformation isn't about doing digital, it's about being digital. It's really operating in a digital way. So that's been going on. And of course, all of you have been upskilling and hiring and recruiting and doing many, many things to build those capabilities to become a digital business. But then the pandemic came along and we moved into an era which I call digital disruption. And digital disruption is taking us to where we are today, which I'll tell you about in a minute. So, the pandemic was quite a big surprise. We sent everybody home. A lot of us had products and services people couldn't buy. They wouldn't buy. We had to deliver them and distribute them in whole different ways. We had to close down the movie theaters and create subscription services for entertainment. All of the things like gaming went online. All retail and product distribution took place through intermediaries. We had intermediaries creating blockers or opportunities for us to move into new delivery models, and those became industries in themselves. The whole work at home model distributed and disrupted the way we hire people. Now we can hire people anywhere. We have a much more competitive job market. We can also hire people part-time. Gig work and normal work became part of the same stream of work-related activities. We had people all over the world working together, and we ended up with resilience issues and stress and well-being. All of these were symptoms of this highly accelerated adoption of digital technologies that took place during the pandemic that forced us to look even harder at the skills, the capabilities, the roles, the job structures that we had to adapt to this weirdly strange, disrupted world. Well, we do a lot of research with HR and we hear a lot about what's going on in your minds. And what we hear constantly is we need to understand the skills of the future. We need to better figure out who to hire where. We need better sourcing tools and so forth. And let me tell you, focusing on skills is not a new idea. When I got out of college in 1978, every company I interviewed with wanted to know my skills. So this isn't something new to be talking about skills. What's new is the fact that your company is becoming something it wasn't before. You're transforming into something else, like a chameleon. You still look sort of like a reptile, but you changed to become green and you didn't really realize it. And suddenly you look down and your skin's different. And that's what's going on. And we call this the fourth stage, which is industry transformation. Every company Every industry is becoming something else. It's transforming into an adjacent industry. Banks are moving into fintech and crypto. Healthcare companies are becoming informatics and self-service companies. Companies in retail are getting into the delivery of pharmacies and therefore testing. Pharmaceutical companies are becoming life science, agriculture, pet food companies, there's a reason for that. I won't go into the details. Telecommunication companies are getting into content and media. Media companies are getting subscription business models and new models of advertising. Oil companies are getting into solar or batteries or other forms of engineering. And perhaps the biggest, of course, is the automobile companies, which were really in the business of bending metal and creating engines and propulsion systems, are now getting to integrated electronic systems, electrical propulsion, mapping, and digital recurring revenue businesses and software. So all of these industries, every one, whatever one you're in, is becoming something else. Even professional services companies that used to sell IT services are now becoming cloud engineering and web services businesses. So what we are realizing is that when you go out and look for recruiting and skills and jobs, you need more information. So what we've done is, using one of the world's largest databases in the world, we have found for you how your jobs are changing, how your skills are changing, how your job roles are changing, and your job clusters. We think jobs should be grouped into clusters of related jobs, not necessarily families, because many of the families are being decomposed. And then the trending career pathways that you can use to get people from the current state, which might be a declining job or a job that you don't really need anymore that's being automated, towards the accelerating job, the role that might be in a different job family that's the one that's needed more in the future. How are we doing this? Through data. So I've been watching this now for many years, and I've been observing it and trying to figure out, where could we find enough data to help companies see these patterns and use this information for planning? And we found it. We found it in a company called Eightfold. Many of you think of Eightfold as a software company, but actually it's a big data company. We've been working with Eightfold for more than 5 years, and the founders of Eightfold built something very unique, a massive data set of worker profiles of more than 1.5 billion people all over the world in virtually every industry and tens of thousands of companies, analyzed with a time series analysis that we can go back in time and we can look at how these job skills, role clusters, and organizations have changed and predict the future. And this is what the global workforce intelligence is all about. We're bringing this data to you in the form of industry by industry analysis and reports that you can use to understand the trends, diagnose where your company fits against those trends, and plan and operationalize your talent strategies for the future. Now, the Eightfold database is quite interesting. It's not just database of job postings like MC Burning Glass. It's that plus much, much more. It's actual people anonymized over time and all of their experiences, jobs, skills, roles, organizations they've worked in, and the interconnectedness of all that data. And what we learned from the Eightfold database is accelerating skills, decelerating skills, accelerating job titles, new jobs, decelerating job titles, job clusters that are growing, job clusters that are shrinking, career pathways that are emerging to take advantage of adjacent roles, and best of all, benchmarking data. You can look at the GWI data and you can look at the way jobs are organized across an industry, and you can compare your company against that data, and you can say, maybe we don't want to be that different, or maybe we like where we are, or maybe we want to be more like this other direction that we need to go. We can compare banking against fintech. We can compare healthcare against pharmaceuticals and other life sciences industries. And this is really, really valuable information. Now, one of the things we've learned amongst all the things we've been studying in skills and jobs and organizations is the role of organization design. And you may think to yourself that in order for you to move your company into the future, it's a skills problem. But that's not really true. Great organizations in your industry don't just have great skills. The way they're organized, the way they're deployed, the way people are rewarded, the way the organization structure works is part of the secret. And what we found in our organization design research is that organization design starts with business model design, operating model design, and then structure, and then roles and team organization. And so what you're going to learn in the GWI are what are the organizational structures and the organizational distribution of roles that you may be missing or not aware of that are taking place in your company and in the industry in which you play. Now, I also believe that this data is extremely strategic as a muscle for your company. You know, a lot of companies will say, well, you know, we need to go into this new area. Let's buy a company that knows how to do that. And that sometimes works, but sometimes it doesn't. A lot of times the culture of that new company is different and the founders leave and you end up with a bunch of people that don't know what to do. So what you want to do, and I firmly believe this, is build this muscle of understanding how your industry is changing and proactively designing your company to move in that direction, recruiting, sourcing, developing, and moving people to get where you need to go. I call this the talent intelligence COE. The talent intelligence COE, to me, is the future of workforce planning and people analytics and lots of other interesting things going on in business that proactively understands the roles, the skills, the structures, the operating models that you're going to need to evolve into a new industry, and then builds the capability academies and the networks of skills inside the company to get you to where you want to go. It's not as simple as saying, we need more skills in AI, let's hire a bunch of AI engineers and everything will be fine. We need to deploy them in the right way, in the right structure, pay them correctly, and reward them so that they move our company in the direction that the industry is trying to go. The GWI is a really exciting project. The first industry we'll be introducing is healthcare, which is one of the most disrupted industries in the world. The second will be financial services and banking, which will get us into insurance and other related industries like fintech. The third will be pharmaceuticals, which will get us into life sciences. And the fourth this year will be retail and CPG, because these two are related too. And we're seeing through the data how these industries relate. There's going to be a lot more information to come on this. It is one of the most exciting research initiatives I've ever been involved in. You can participate by joining our membership program, join our mailing list, and please come to one of our C-suite forums. We're going to be sharing this information with you and learning from you and interacting with you so that the data and the insights become better and better over time. Thank you so much for listening to this, and we look forward to talking to you more about this really, really important program.